If you're a freelancer, a private chef, or really anyone who provides a personal service, you know this exact feeling. The event was a huge success. The client is absolutely beaming, but then that weird, awkward silence. You know you need that 5-star review, but asking for it, it just feels pushy, a little desperate, and, well, awkward. So that brings us to the big question, right? How in the world do you get those amazing business-building reviews without actually having to ask? Is there a secret way to just make them happen naturally? Well, here's the short and simple answer. You don't. You absolutely have to ask for them. The real secret isn't about avoiding the question at all. It's about learning how to ask in a way that feels like the final, perfect step of your premium service. And that is exactly what we are going to break down today. Okay, so first things first, we really need to get on the same page about why this matters so much. For any kind of premium service, your reputation is surprisingly fragile. Reviews are not just a nice little bonus, they are a core business asset that you have to actively protect and grow. I mean, think about it for a second. Reviews are doing so much heavy lifting for your business. They're the very first thing a potential client looks at to decide if they can trust you. They directly impact whether someone feels confident enough to hit that Book Now button. And this is a big one. They literally tell platforms and booking sites whether you're a safe bet to feature at the top of the page. A solid history of great reviews signals that you're reliable and consistent, and that, my friends, is priceless. This is the goal, right? A perfect 5.00 rating. It's the gold standard. It's that beautiful sign of flawless service that puts you right at the top of a list. It looks so solid, so untouchable. But the reality is, it's a little more delicate than it looks. And here's where you see just how quickly that perfection can disappear, especially when you're just starting out and don't have a ton of reviews. So let's say you have 5-star reviews. You're sitting pretty at a perfect 5.0. But watch what happens. You get just one 4-star review, and boom, you drop to a 4.83. One 3-star review takes you all the way down to 467, and a single devastating 1-star review, that plummets your average to a 433. The big takeaway here is that every single review carries enormous weight. Okay, so how do we protect that rating and actually encourage those glowing reviews? It all comes down to the perfect request. We're going to break down a simple but incredibly powerful message, line by line, so you can see exactly why it works so well. It all starts right here. Good morning! It's simple, it's polite, but the key is that it immediately thanks the client and keeps the focus 100% on their experience. There's zero mention of you or what you need. It's all about them, and that immediately feels warm, personal, and considerate. Now this next line, this is brilliant. It softly opens the door for feedback, but look at how it's framed. It's a tool for your professional development. You're not asking them to criticize you. You're positioning yourself as a true professional who is dedicated to quality. This makes it feel totally safe and even helpful for the client to share their honest thoughts. And here it is, the request itself. But notice that super important conditional phrase, if you enjoyed the experience. This totally avoids any sense of entitlement. You aren't demanding a review, you're inviting one, if they feel it's deserved. And then you briefly and genuinely explain why it matters. No long sob story, just a simple human reason. And this really sums up the whole effect. When you put it all together, the message doesn't feel like a desperate sales pitch at all. It feels like a polished, professional follow-up. The final touch on an excellent service that just reinforces your premium brand. All right, so we've seen the perfect message. Now let's build that into a simple, repeatable process that you can use every single time. This is your 3-step review playbook. It's a really straightforward 3-step flow. First, and this is maybe obvious, but it's the foundation of everything, you have to deliver a service that is actually worth reviewing. That's non-negotiable. Second, the very next day, you send that message we just analyzed to invite feedback, but you do it privately. And then, only as the third and final step, do you encourage the public review. The order here is absolutely critical. And this brings us to the secret weapon in this whole process, using private chat. By inviting feedback first in a direct message or a text, you create this safe little space for a client to bring up any issues they might have had. This is your golden opportunity to perform service recovery before a small problem becomes a permanent 3-star review on your public profile for everyone to see. Now, if you do get some negative feedback in that private chat, the number one goal is not to argue or prove them wrong. It's to de-escalate. Thank them for being honest with you, Acknowledge what they're saying so they feel heard. You have to resist that powerful urge to get defensive. If you handle it well, many clients will feel really satisfied with the resolution and might even leave a much better public review than they would have otherwise. Okay, now that we know the right way to do it, let's quickly cover the common traps. These are the mistakes that can make a review request totally backfire and actually end up damaging your brand. This slide lays it all out pretty clearly. On the left, you've got the do's: ask promptly the next day, always use private chat first, and keep the message personal and warm. And on the right, the crucial don'ts: never, ever send a bunch of reminders or argue with their feedback. And maybe most importantly, don't lead by demanding 5 stars, which just feels forced. And please, avoid that robotic, copy-pasted text that makes your client feel like they're just another number to you. So, look, if you take only one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. The entire philosophy is built on this exact order. Thank them first. Invite their private feedback second. Then, and only then, do you request the public review. That sequence protects your brand, it respects your client, and it dramatically increases your chances of getting those fantastic reviews you've earned. So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Take an honest look at your own process. Is your follow-up right now a polished final step that's actually strengthening your brand? Or is it kind of an awkward afterthought that might be weakening it?